Arch Manning is widely considered one of the best prospects in the 2027 NFL Draft, and for years now, he has been hyped as the next great quarterback prospect to come from the Manning family, following in the footsteps of Archie Manning, Peyton Manning, and Eli Manning. But is he really worth the hype? After one season as a full-time starter, in which he looked awesome at times and struggled immensely in some games, is a fair question to ask. We'll answer that question in today's video, which is the beginning of a series I'll be doing this summer in which I preview some of the top prospects in the 2027 NFL Draft, prior to the upcoming college football season. Let's go ahead and dive into Arch Manning. The first thing I want to talk about, and I think this is something that gives Arch Manning a lot of upside, is his arm talent and his ability to push the ball down the field. He's a fairly aggressive passer. In 2025, this was this past season, 15.9% of his pass attempts were deep passes. That ranked 17th among quarterbacks in the Power 5. He also had a ADOT, or average depth of target, of 9.7 yards. That mark ranked 15th among Power 5 quarterbacks. Those marks aren't out of this world good, but they're above average, and I think this shows that he is a fairly aggressive passer who is willing to push the ball down the field. Let's take a look at Arch Manning's first game of this past season, in which he faced Ohio State, one of the best, if not the best, defenses in the entire nation. This was a tough game for Texas. Their offense struggled all game long, and at this point in the game, they were desperate for a touchdown. They needed to score if they wanted any chance of winning this game. And on this play, they're going to go vertical here. So let's focus on these two receivers on the right side of the field. The inside receiver is going to go outside, run a vertical route, and then the outside receiver is going to go inside and run a vertical route. This kind of route concept is going to put the defense in a difficult spot, in a difficult position, because these receivers are switching positions on the field. And this is going to be a really nice play from Arch Manning here. Let's watch it. He drops back, looking to his right, got plenty of time in the pocket, delivers the ball here. Now watch, let's pause it here. His receiver has no separation here. He's not open, so this is not going to be a very easy throw. The accuracy and the ball placement have to be perfect on this play. And you know what? It was. Great throw, beautiful catch from the receiver, and that puts Texas on the board late. Texas did not end up winning this game, but this was a huge play for their offense and Arch Manning. Great throw, great execution. Love the deep ball passing here. Next up, we have a play against Mississippi State. We're nearing the end of the second quarter. The first half is about to come to a close. Texas is up 7-6 with an opportunity to go up 8 points here. And on this play, we're going to see the Longhorns go 5 wide. They've got all of their offensive weapons on the line of scrimmage. They're going to be passing here, but I want to focus on this receiver on the left side of the field. He is the second receiver on the left side of this formation. He's going to be running vertical, and we're going to see, once again, Texas push the ball down the field. But we're also going to see Arch Manning showcase some really nice pocket management here. His pocket presence is really good on this play. Let's take a look at it. So right off the snap, he's going to have this defender right here come off the edge unblocked. So he's got this blitzer who is unblocked. That's going to add a lot more pressure to this throw than Arch Manning may have originally anticipated. He's going to have to execute on this throw with a pass rusher in his face. And look what he does. Throws no hesitation. His receiver's open. Beautiful accuracy, great ball placement, and it's a touchdown for Texas. I really like Arch Manning's ability to throw the ball outside the numbers, and on this play against Arkansas, we're going to see him showcase his ability to extend plays and get creative outside of structure, and this was a great game for him. He dominated Arkansas this past season. So on this play, let's go ahead and take a look here. Catches the snap, looking to his right, and he's got this pass rusher right in his face. I mean, he's right there. This should be an easy sack. The defender got there really quickly. But look at what Arch Manning does. He doesn't get sacked. He avoids the pressure, actually evades the sack, and now he's throwing this ball on the run. And this is a terrible platform to be throwing from. He's not balanced. He's like basically in the air at this point when he's beginning to throw. Just, this is going to be a really hard throw to execute with accuracy. And he's going to be throwing outside the numbers here. But look what he does. Pushes the ball outside the numbers. His receiver's open. Really nice throw. I mean, this is a great example of his ability to get outside of structure, avoid pass rushers, and make a really tough throw on the run when a play falls apart. That's awesome. I think Arch Manning is really impressive when he is forced to go off script and improvise when plays break down. We see this happen again in this Arkansas game. At this point, Texas is in the red zone. They're up 31-20, trying to score here, and it's 3rd and goal. Texas has 3 receivers on the left side of the field, and they have a running back in the backfield who's going to go out on a passing route. And let's see what happens here. So, when he gets to the bottom of his drop, he actually decides to scramble outside the pocket. I think Arch could have potentially stepped up in the pocket and maybe even, took off and ran, or maybe just looked to throw the ball down the field. But he doesn't do that. He goes outside the pocket, avoids the sack here, and now he's going to make a nice throw on the run. Beautiful pass, and it's a touchdown for Texas. Now they're going to go up 38-20. One of Arch's best qualities is his ability to throw the ball to the intermediate parts of the field, especially between the numbers. Right here, you can see his passing chart from this past season, the 2025 season, and his production is clearly at its best when he's throwing between the numbers. As you can see, looking at his production, throwing between the numbers, this past season, his passer rating was over 100 when he was throwing between the numbers on the intermediate parts of the field, and also when he was throwing between the numbers to the deep parts of the field. And in these 2 areas combined, and I'm looking at these 2 areas right here, if you aren't following me, in those 2 areas, he had 13 touchdowns to 2 interceptions this past season. That's very impressive. Also, look right here. Here in this table, you can kind of see how often Arch Manning throws to each part of the field. Last season, he threw to the intermediate center part of the field. That's going to be this part of the field right here. He threw to that area of the field on 14% of his pass attempts this past season. That's a really high mark. And that shows that not only is he really effective throwing to the intermediate parts of the field, throwing between the numbers, but he's also very willing to attack the middle of the field, where it's honestly hard to make throws to that area because you've got linebackers there, it's really crowded. And so I think this is a really impressive part of Arch Manning's game and something that indicates he has some really high upside moving forward, looking at his projection into the NFL. Let's go back to the Ohio State game, and this is a really beautiful throw from Arch Manning between the numbers. On this play, we're going to see this receiver on the left side of the field run this skinny post, and on this play, we're going to see Ohio State get into this cover 3 defense where they're going to have 3 defensive backs and a deep third, and that's going to keep the seams open. And this route, the skinny post route is going to be perfect for attacking this seam right here. And this is going to be a great throw from Arch Manning. Let's check it out. He drops back, looks to his left. I mean, this is a really difficult throw because you've got 3 defensive backs here, or 3 defenders, I should say, all in this little triangle. So this is a tight window. This is not a very easy throw to execute, but Arch Manning does it. Great ball placement, really good timing to not give his receiver a hospital ball. I mean, that is a very difficult throw, and Arch Manning makes it look easy. Here's another example of Arch's middle of the field passing ability. On this play against Mississippi State, this receiver on the left side of the field is going to be running over the middle of the field. At the beginning of this play, we're going to see some play action. Right off of that, Arch's eyes are looking towards the middle of the field, delivers a nice throw with accuracy. Not a very difficult throw, but he places it well, allowing his receiver to get some yards after the catch. Nice play. Here's another play that's kind of similar to the one that we just watched. We got Texas versus Arkansas here. Texas is up by 1 in the first quarter. And we're going to see Texas attack the middle of the field here. Be on the lookout for this receiver on the right side of the field. He's going to be running a little slant, maybe a short post here. And Arch Manning's going to attack it. Gets a snap here. Looks to that side immediately. Throws the ball, good timing, good accuracy. And there were some defenders in the area here. So you had this defender in the middle of the field right here. And so he's got to avoid him. And he does just that. It's a really nice throw, good accuracy. His receiver gets some yards after the catch. Another nice play. Another thing Arch Manning does really well, and this is something I think is really underrated when we talk about evaluating quarterback prospects, is managing the pocket. Arch does a great job of avoiding sacks and not scrambling when he doesn't have to. This past season, he had a pressure to sack rate of 13.3%, meaning that he only took a sack on 13.3% of his pressure to dropbacks. That is a very good mark, especially for someone who's throwing down the field fairly regularly. He also didn't scramble all that often in 2025. He had a scramble rate of 6.9%, so he only scrambled on 6.9% of his dropbacks. That's not a super low number, but the good thing is it's not a super high number either. I think Arch does a great job of balancing how often he leaves the pocket with how often he stays in the pocket and delivers throws. This is a really underrated trait, talking about, balancing scrambling with staying in the pocket. It's an underrated trait, in my opinion, and Arch already has mastered this. This right here is one of my favorite plays that I've seen from Arch Manning. This is the Florida game. Obviously, at this point in the game, Texas was down big. It's 22-7. And Texas needs a big play here. They need to score on this drive. And this play is a great example of the way in which Arch Manning does a great job at maneuvering within the pocket to avoid pass rushers, which allows him to avoid sacks, avoid those big negative plays. And let's see how he does that here. So at the beginning of the play, this pass rusher right here is going to beat this interior offensive lineman and get pressure on Arch Manning. Right here, he has an easy path to the quarterback. So does this edge rusher. He's going to get some leverage here. And so he's got two guys coming in on him. And look at what he does. Evades the sack. He's looking downfield. He is about to launch this ball deep down the field. Beautiful throw. And I want to go back. I want to go back here and point out something. When he throws this ball, his momentum is carrying him this way. So he's literally drifting to the left, and he's throwing this ball to the right side of the field. I'm pretty sure this ball ends up on the other side of these hashes. That is freaking ridiculous. That is a wildly good throw. Unbelievable. Great job avoiding the pass rushers and delivering an absolute strike down the field for a touchdown. That is a ludicrous play from Arch Manning. Next up, we got a play from the Mississippi State game. Texas up 14-6 at this point. We got 5 minutes left in the third quarter. We're going to see some more good pocket movement from Arch Manning here. So off the snap, we got this edge rusher right here, or this pass rusher. He's taking on this running back here, so this running back's blocking him. And we're not going to see anything crazy from Arch Manning here. He's just going to do a slight movement up within the pocket, and then we see his eyes are looking immediately to the right side of the field. That's where he's wanting to throw this football. He does just that. Makes a really nice throw outside the hashes. That's a big play. Here's another play from the Mississippi State game where Arch Manning shows some good pocket movement. On this play, we're going to see a little bit of play action. Fake handoff to the guy on the end around. We see another play where we got a pass rusher who's got a little bit of leverage here. He's got a path to the quarterback here. But what does Arch Manning do? Moves up within the pocket. His eyes are downfield still. He's still looking downfield. He wants to throw this football. He's not immediately scrambling as soon as he faces any kind of pressure. Keeps his eyes up. Now he's going to take off with the ball in his hands. And look at this mobility. He dives for the pylon. I don't know if this was called a touchdown, but I love the subtle movement up within the pocket and then the big run. And I love the effort trying to score this touchdown. That's awesome. Alright, here's one last play where we're going to look at how Arch navigates the pocket. Here we're looking at the Arkansas game. So at the beginning of this play, he's going to pump fake to this receiver right here on this little fake screen. And after that, he's going to immediately look upfield, pump fakes there. Now he's going to move his eyes a little bit. And we got this pass rusher right here. Keep your eyes on him. Arch Manning's going to face a little bit of pressure from him. Moves up. He has hands on him at one point, but he's able to just shrug off the pass rusher a little bit. He's still looking down the field and unleashes a beautiful throw to an open receiver for a touchdown. Great play. That gives Texas the lead. And I want to take a look at the replay here a little bit because this gives us an idea of how this receiver got so open. I don't know what these two defensive backs are doing right here. This guy and then this guy. Someone did not stay deep. I don't know whose responsibility that was, but neither of them stayed deep with this receiver who is going vertical up the field. And this gives the Longhorns a huge passing play, which gives them the lead in this football game. Now, unlike Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, Arch actually is very athletic, and he utilizes his athleticism well as a runner. He's pretty mobile. This past season, he had over 500 rushing yards, and his rushing production this past season wasn't anything crazy. It's not like he's a game-changing or a game-breaking rusher. He's not a Lamar Jackson or an Anthony Richardson, but he is mobile enough. And I think he utilizes his mobility really well, not only within the pocket, but also outside the pocket. And he is able to impact the game as a runner, which gives him another avenue for him to stretch defenses and put pressure on opposing teams. We are back in the Ohio State game. It's 2nd and 13. Texas down 7-0. And early on in this play, Arch Manning catches the snap. He's got this pass rusher coming in. I think this was a blitzer. He's coming in hot. He's going to try to bring Arch Manning to the ground. Not going to do that. Arch steps up, keeps his eyes down the field. Now he's going to scramble outside the pocket, and look what he does here. Makes this defender miss. Now he's past the line of scrimmage, makes another defender miss, and he picks up the first down. Nice run. This is a crazy play from Arch Manning against Florida. It's 2nd and 20. Texas is down 29-14 early in the fourth quarter. At the beginning of this play, we are going to see a pass rusher get pressure immediately, beats his man. I'm talking about 33 right here. He's got a nice path to the quarterback. But once again, Arch Manning doesn't panic, steps up, makes the guy miss, and now he is off to the races. He's running, picks up the first down. That is absolutely wild. Picking up the first down on this play when it's 2nd and 20 is absolutely insane. What a run for Arch. Having a mobile quarterback is really useful in the red zone because it allows you to utilize them in the run game. In this area of the field where things are just really tight and compressed, condensed, you don't have as much field to work with. It makes throwing the ball harder, so having a guy who's mobile like Arch Manning is really useful in these types of situations. On this play, it's 2nd and goal. Texas is up against Arkansas. They're up 24-20 early in the third quarter, and they're going to use Arch in the run game near the goal line. Let's see how this works out. Arch is going to get the snap here, and he's going to run immediately. This is a designed quarterback run. And look, makes some defenders miss, gets into the end zone, and that is a touchdown for Texas as they go up double digits. I think there is a lot to like about Arch Manning. His physical tools are very good. He's great at navigating the pocket, avoiding sacks, making big plays down the field. He's aggressive. He's creative outside of structure. But he does have two big weaknesses, and that is his accuracy and his decision making. This past season, he was one of the worst quarterbacks in all of Power 5 in these two areas, as he had an adjusted completion percentage of 73%, which ranked 39th among all quarterbacks in the Power 5, and he had a turnover-worthy play rate of 3.5%, a mark that ranked 44th among all quarterbacks in the Power 5. This lack of accuracy and poor decision-making is a scary combo. I don't know how many quarterback prospects we've seen over the years who have struggled in the NFL because they weren't accurate enough and they weren't good enough at protecting the football. And so as much as I like Arch Manning, I like his upside, this does scare me, and I think this shows that he is more raw as a passer than I think a lot of people would like to admit. Arch made some great plays in this Ohio State game, but he also had some really bad moments, and this is one of them. Now, Texas is down 7-0 at this point in the game. There's like 3 minutes left in the third quarter, 2nd and 12. Texas is going to run play action here. Fakes the handoff. Arch is looking to the right, and he's going to throw deep here. Now, there are some big issues with what he is about to do. He throws the ball down the field, and look, he is targeting this receiver right here. But he's not open. He hasn't created enough separation, and the ball placement here is very bad. This ball needs to be, like, on the sideline, like right here. I mean, it's got to be way out here if you're going to try to throw this ball, but it's not. The ball's poorly placed, and the defender is able to make a play on the football, and that's an interception. That's just not a good decision and not good ball placement from Arch. Here's another play from the Ohio State game. At this point, it's early in the fourth quarter. Ohio State is up 14-0. Texas's offense has struggled all game long. They desperately need a touchdown here. And they've got a 4th and 3 near the goal line. And I think what they have cooked up on offense is really good. I like this play design. They're going to have these inside receivers run these outbreaking routes to try to get this furthest outside receiver open on a slant. These inside receivers are basically going to be setting a screen for this outside receiver to try to, manufacture space for him, manufacture some separation for him. And it actually works. I mean, if we can go slow motion here, he actually gets super open. I mean, look at him. He's got all this space to work with. All Arch Manning has to do here is just throw a ball accurately to this area of the field, and he's got a first down, maybe even more. This should be an easy throw. This ball should be out already. But for whatever reason, Arch is going to try to throw this ball to this receiver, running this route to the right side of the end zone. This is going to end up being a very difficult throw. I don't know why Arch decided to do this, but he doesn't throw to the slant even though it's open. He tries to make the more difficult throw, and it doesn't go well. It's an incomplete pass, and Ohio State takes over with possession, up double digits late in this game. We're back to the Florida game, and kind of like the Ohio State game, Arch had a lot of great plays in this game against the Gators, but he also had some bad moments, and this is one of those bad moments. On this play, we're going to look at these receivers on the right side of the field. This inside receiver is going to run this little curl route here, and then the outside receiver, he's going to run like a little slant, maybe a little post here. He's running in this in-breaking route. And the receiver on the outside running the in-breaking route is actually going to get open. But unfortunately, this is an example of Arch's poor accuracy getting him in trouble. Look at this. That is not a great ball. And I think this receiver is actually open. Now, this is a blurry image, I know. But this receiver has a little bit of room to work with inside. Now, I don't think he's created a ton of separation here. Like, if we look at these two players, the receiver and the defensive back, like, there's not a ton of separation there. But there's enough space in this area of the field right here where I think if Arch, throws a better ball and puts this ball, inside and puts it to where only his receiver can get it, this could be a completion. But instead, Arch actually just ends up sailing this football and sails it right into the hands of a defensive back for a turnover, and that is killer. That's a brutal play for Arch and the Texas offense. Over the last couple of years, I have seen people claim that Arch Manning is only talked about a lot because of his last name. And of course, there is some merit to the idea that he has been a popular player for a long time because he comes from the Manning family. But I think people who make this claim are oftentimes just vastly underrating how talented Arch is as a quarterback. He has a lot of nice traits. I mean, he's aggressive as a passer, willing to push the ball down the field. He can be creative outside of structure. He's really good at managing the pocket, avoiding defenders, avoiding sacks, limiting those negative plays. I think that is one of his best traits, and that gives him a decent floor as a passer. And he's also mobile outside of the pocket. He can run, he can scramble a little bit, he's got some nice mobility, and all of this, in my opinion, gives him some serious upside as a prospect. Unfortunately, Arch is not a perfect player. He's got a lot of growing to do, especially in terms of his accuracy and his decision making. I think he's a little more raw as a passer than a lot of people would like to admit, and that's kind of scary because he's not a super young player. At this point, I believe he's going to be 23 years old on draft night, if not older. So he's a little further along in his development process than I think a lot of people realize. And so, as good as he is in all of these areas, like his aggressiveness as a passer and the way he maneuvers within the pocket, those things are great. But accuracy and decision making are super important. That can keep prospects from working out in the NFL. So as much as I like Arch Manning and I see the upside, I want to see another year from him. I want to see him develop a lot in his final season at Texas before I say, oh yeah, this is a guy worthy of taking early in the first round. I think he can get there, but I want to see some development and some growth from him before I am riding the Arch Manning bandwagon and I'm saying, yeah, this is a guy worthy of being the number 1 overall pick. I like him, but I want to see a little bit more from him, and hopefully he can do that this season at Texas. Let me know what you think about Arch Manning and my breakdown of his skill set in the comment section down below. And if you like this video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see y'all next time. God bless.